Well, tonight on the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about your friends, the Democrats. And the reason why we're going to talk about your friends, the Democrats, I'm talking about definitely Black America's friends, because you have been voting for them for more than half a century, and they have proven to not prioritize Black America. So looking for a topic tonight for the podcast, I said, you know what? Let me do what I normally do with certain candidates. Let me go to the Democrat Party's website. Let me look at what they're really standing for. Are we anywhere prioritized? Are we an afterthought? What is it? Now, if you look up on the screen, that's where I'm taking what I'm about to go from on this screen here. You can go to their website and look at this, then look at about immigration. Go to that section. Now, I did look at the other section looking for Black folks. We are a mere mention and a mere afterthought. But you see what's happening in Chicago. You see what's happening in New York. And even Democrat cities are sending migrants to Brandon Johnson and Mayor Adams. Because now, just because they're Democrats doesn't mean they are not anti-Black racists now. You should know that by now. So, but let's look at why Biden has an open border policy. Why Brandon Johnson is up here trying to prioritize migrants over the people that voted for him. Why Biden are prioritizing people from other nations and no one that voted for him. So it says, I'm going to get it verbatim so y'all can hear how insulting this is. So brace yourself. Get your coffee. We about to get into it. Now, they say out of many, we are one. They say that bedrock American idea has animated our country from its earliest days. They say inspiring people from every corner of the earth to participate in our great democratic experiment. Oh, God. OK. First of all, what are you talking about? My ancestors were enslaved 250 years to build America. The people that came over here was Europeans to come over here to get free land, free goodies off of the backs of my ancestors. So why are you trying to sound like, oh, the beginning of America was so great and pretty and, oh, people just came over here? You see how disrespectful the Democrats are? And I haven't even got fully into this yet. Let's continue. They say the Trump administration has repudiated that idea and abandoned our values as a diverse, compassionate, and welcoming country. Instead of pursuing a sensible, humane, and responsible approach to immigration that strengthens the United States, the Trump administration has been callous, cruel, and reckless in the extreme. President Trump's immigration policies have made our communities less safe, undermined our economy, and tarnished our image around the world. How is it him deporting people making my community less safe? How is that? I don't get that. How is that undermining our economy? When last time I checked, when President Trump was getting them out of here, Black American men was getting those jobs. And we mean tarnishing our image. Our image been tarnished. You forgot about Iraq. You forgot about Afghanistan. You forgot about Libya. Our image been tarnished. It has nothing to do with Trump. He said this administration's cruelty and dehumanization of immigrants stretches the imagination and shocks the conscience, forcibly separating families and putting children in cages, deporting veterans who have fought to defend our freedoms, conducting militarized raids on our workplaces, endangering lives by denying COVID-19 testing and treatment based on immigration status, including to essential workers, at the forefront of the pandemic response. Banning people from traveling to the United States based on their faith or their country of origin, and turning away refugees and asylum seekers fleeing violence and persecution. Well, you got people in this country that's suffering violence and persecution. Y'all not doing nothing for them. So why should we take on everybody's issues in the world? We can't fix our own. And say these actions should not happen in our country again. Say Democrats believe America can do better. Indeed, we must. They say the truth is our immigration system was broken long before President Trump came into office. And his departure alone won't fix it. They say immigrants are essential to our society and our economy. Essential. In other words, we need them. We cannot operate our country without immigrants. So what does that say about the American citizens that's here? So we all pieces of crap? We can't work? We can't maintain a country that we built? I'm talking about all American citizens. This is the disrespect that the Democrat Party puts on their website about American citizens. This is what they say. They enrich our culture. What? Last time I checked, the culture is Black America. Everybody's copying us. We're not copying them. We're not copying nothing they got going on. What do you mean they enrich the culture? If Black folks would take a strike and just shut down our culture for 30 days, please, the economy will tank. Let's continue. He say they grow our food. Yeah, that's kind of slave labor. Care for our loved ones. Are you talking about your maids? Now, see, that's kind of wrong. To what care for your loved ones, serving our armed forces and provide critical health care services. So immigrants make America stronger. Not only do immigrants support us, immigrants are us. It's our families, our communities, our congregations, and our schools. Our businesses, large and small, have been built and sustained through the inclusion of immigrants. That's why Democrats commit to building a 21st century immigration system that reflects our values. You remember Brandon Johnson kept saying our values, our values. This is where he's getting it from. He's getting it from the DNC website. You can go literally read what Brandon Johnson keeps saying. Reflects our values. Okay. He's a puppet, y'all. They continue to say repairs past harms. What immigration? You will repair. The only people I see in this country need to be repaired from a past harm is the Black man and woman of America, the descendant of slaves. They're the only people that has to be repaired through reparations. Now you're using reparation-like language about immigrants, but this is the Democrats. And what I'm saying is not a shot at the immigrant. We talking about the Democrat Party. See, this is why they won't do nothing for us, because we're not the priority no more. We was never a priority, but we're not a priority. We are an afterthought. We are a tool to keep them in power. They will tell you your ancestors died. You got to get out there and vote. How dare you not vote? But when the rubber meets the road, they are pro-immigration, and it gets better. Let's continue. He said they continue to say heals our communities, rebuild our economy, talking about the immigration system, and renew our global leadership. Said we will start by righting the wrongs of the Trump administration. Let's see what they did. Democrats will rescind President Trump's fabricated national emergency, which siphons funding away from our men and women in uniform to construct an unnecessary, wasteful, ineffective wall on the southern border. Yeah, y'all did that, and guess what? Biden is back building the wall. And then you want to say, well, the money was appropriated already. I couldn't do nothing about it, you liar. You're a freaking lie. We immediately terminate the Trump administration's discriminatory travel and immigration bans that disproportionately impact Muslim, Arab, and African people, and invite those whose visas have been denied under these xenophobic and un-American policies to reapply to come to the United States. We will support legislation to ensure that no president can enact discriminatory bans ever again. We will reinstate, expand, and streamline protections for dreamers. I had to pause. Let's read that again. We will reinstate, expand. We're going to grow this thing and streamline, make it faster. Protections for dreamers. But they won't expand or streamline protections for the Black man and woman of America. Hey, are y'all trying to go out there and get your I vote sticker in 2024? This is on the Democrats' website. One thing I'm telling y'all, when I present something to you, I'm telling you where you can go get it. I'm quoting it. I'm doing all of that. I'm not lying on the Democrats. See, this is why Boule Martin, when y'all tell him, why don't you never mention Chicago and what's happening up there? This is why. It is a tenet of the Democrat Party to flood the zone, open borders, and effectively displace the black man and woman of America in cities and areas that they built. Not only will they reinstate, expand, and streamline protections for the dreamers and the parents of American citizen children to keep families together in the communities they have called home, Democrats believe the United States should be a beacon of hope for those who are suffering violence and injustice, which is why we will protect. Y'all keep hearing they keep using the word protect. They say they're going to streamline protection. Then they saying it again. They're going to protect. But when a black man and woman going through suffering violence at the hands of police, injustice in the hands of the so-called justice system, the injustice system, we don't get no protection from the Democrats. But the Democrats are telling you on their website, we will protect them. You, black man and woman, are not a priority for the Democrat Party. Let's continue. They say they will expand the existing asylum system and other humanitarian protections. You keep hearing that word protection. Protect, streamline protection, expand protection, humanitarian protections. They keep saying it. It means we're going to do something for them that we're not going to do for the black American community. We want black America to be sitting ducks for any old white supremacist to attack. But when it comes to other people, we're protecting them. Now they say we will reverse the Trump administration policies that prevent victims of gang and domestic violence, as well as LGBTQ plus people who are unsafe in their home countries, from being eligible to apply for asylum. Now, asylum is supposed to be for war, but what they're saying that, so if a woman is dealing with domestic violence in her homeland, she could come to America and say, "Oh, I'm fleeing domestic violence and I need asylum." If a person can't be LGBT in their homeland, they can come up here and say, "Hey, I need asylum because, I'm LGBT. That's not legal in my country, so I'm seeking asylum." They are gaming the system. I'll tell you what, if it was up to me, I would end asylum. It would be ended as you know it. And then I'll redo it as you must be fleeing war. And I mean active war. War. I mean full on conflict war. No. They got people in this country every day dealing with domestic violence issues. So you tell me they can go flee to another country? Now, they say Democrats will end the Trump administration policies that deny protected entry to asylum seekers. You keep hearing the theme protection, protected, streamline protection, expand protection. That's why they're getting what they're getting. And that's why the Democrat Party is doing what they're doing. This, once again, and that's fine. Listen, y'all can benign and neglect us. Y'all can protect them all you want. That's okay. I'm not upset with what you're saying. I just got to inform my people so they won't be fooled with your trickery and your deception. Now let's continue. So they say we'll put them at greater risk and destabilize, they say, our neighbors and the broader region, and we will end prosecution of asylum seekers at the border and policies that force them to apply from safe third countries, which are far from safe. So the Democrats are openly saying we're not going to follow our laws when it comes to them. They are a group of people that can skate by our system with the assistance of the Democrat Party. They continue to say Democrats believe that our fight to end systemic and structural racism in our country extends to our immigration system, including the policies at our borders and ports of entry, detention centers, and within immigration law enforcement agencies, and their policies and operations. And Democrats will immediately halt enforcement of and rescind the Trump administration's un-American immigrant wealth test. Even as we work to reverse the enormous damage caused by the Trump administration, we are determined to build a 21st century immigration system that embodies our values. There we go, that our values again. Brandon Johnson, remember that. When you keep hearing them say our values, he's speaking about the Democrat Party's mantra. That's not coming from Brandon Johnson. That's speech he's given by the DNC folks. He is a lackey for the DNC. That's why you keep hearing our values.
We're not going to break away from our value system because right-wing extremism is sowing seeds of discord in this city.
Expand economic opportunity for all Americans, and enhance our global competitiveness. Democrats believe it is long past time to provide a roadmap to citizenship for the millions of undocumented workers, caregivers, students, and children who are an essential part of our economy and the fabric of our nation. We will fast track this process for those workers who have been essential to the pandemic response and recovery efforts, including healthcare workers, farm workers, and others. And said we will also eliminate unfair barriers to naturalization, reduce application backlogs, and make our immigration process faster, more efficient, and less costly. These reforms will strengthen our communities, our families, our economy, and our country. How is those reforms going to strengthen the Black Americans family? How? Any person watching, is that going to strengthen your family? Last time I checked, what would strengthen your family is your reparations. That's what would strengthen your family, right? Now, they're corporate buddies. They want cheap labor. Yeah, that's what they're happy about with them. They say Democrats oppose President Trump's illegal, chaotic, and reckless changes to the legal immigration system, including decisions to slash family-based immigration, as well as H-1B and other visa programs that can help our economy. Democrats believe family unity should be a guiding principle for our immigration policy. We will prioritize family reunification for children still separated from their families, and we will restore family reunification programs ended by the Trump administration. We support legislation to treat the spouses and children of green card holders as immediate relatives and end their unfair separation. We will eliminate family-based green card backlogs and reform the system to speed up family-based visas. And we will work with Congress to eliminate barriers such as 3 and 10-year bars and remove the 10-year waiting period for waivers to the permanent bars that keep loved ones apart. We believe we should expand, not reduce, the annual visa cap for victims of human trafficking, including victims of SA trafficking, violence against women and children, and other heinous crimes. Ensure that the same-sex couples and their children receive equal treatment in the immigration naturalization system, and reaffirm America's commitment to family-based immigration and preserve the critical role of diversity preferences in our immigration system. When they talk about diversity, they're not talking about you. They're not talking about me. They're talking about immigration. When they talk about racial equity, they're not talking about you. They're not talking about me. They're talking about immigration. They want to bring their families together. They want to financially paper them up, make sure they're good. But what about your family? What about my family? We don't need nothing as a Black community. But we're shamed to go vote for the Democrats. Do you think after going through this, and we're going to finish it, that I'm going to get myself up out my house and go vote for the Democrats when you clearly are against me? You clearly are. Because everything you're talking about, Black folks been telling you, we need protection. Hey, we need reparations. And you talking about basically doing reparations for them. Democrats will ensure that law-abiding individuals with temporary protected status or deferred enforcement departure are not sent back to countries where they cannot live safely. And we will work to pave a path to citizenship to those who have been in the country for an extended period of time and built their lives in the United States. Democrats know that when employers feel free to abuse and bully immigrant workers, all workers suffer. That's why we hold employers accountable, promote workers' rights, and prioritize the enforcement of labor and employment laws across the economy, including discrimination, harassment laws, harassment protections, wage and hour laws, and health and safety rules that we will prevent employers from taking advantage of immigrant workers by establishing an affirmative process to request deferred action for workers who report labor violations, and by supporting the Domestic Workers Bill of Rights and protect our workers from exploitation and retaliation. To ensure that enforcement of these mechanisms are humane and consistent with our values, there we go again, that word, our values, Brandon Johnson, and international humanitarian obligations. That's why we will end workplace and community raids. Is that we will protect sensitive locations like our schools, houses of worship, healthcare facilities, benefits offices, and DMVs from immigration enforcement actions. So, yeah, in the Biden administration, they don't have to follow federal law. They just do what they want. But let me or you break federal law, and they got a jail cell waiting for us. And prohibit raids in which children and members of vulnerable population are left behind without their caregivers. And so we prohibit enforcement actions that deter access to justice at courthouses. And repress freedom of speech and assembly. In programs that force state and local law enforcement to also be responsible for immigration enforcement. So the states can't do nothing about it, right? And stop targeting men and women who have served in uniform and their families. We will reaffirm enforcement officials' ability to engage in the pre-Trump practice of prosecutorial discretion for deserving cases, including when needed to address humanitarian issues or other injustices. We also prevent enforcement officials from retaliating against individuals for their political speech or activity, or because their efforts to advocate for the individual's rights. We also believe detention should be the last resort, not the default. Oh, hold on. So when it comes to black folk, detention is the first resort, not the last. But when it comes to them, well, this the Democrats talking. Well, we believe detention should be the last resort, not the default. So black folks, detention is the default. Migrants, well, detention should be the last resort. But this is the people, ladies and gentlemen, that want you to come out and vote for them. Seriously. Look, at this point, I'm sorry, I got to play Pastor Man.
What's wrong with you? What's wrong with y'all? You're crazy.
Yeah, you are if you go vote for Biden at this point, and the Democrats, when they telling you on their website what they're trying to do. You can go to jail, but not them. Okay, well, let's continue. Democrats will prioritize investments in more effective and cost-efficient community-based alternatives to detention. But they're not doing that for black folk, right? Some black folk should be on home confinement. I don't think every crime should be a prison cell. If it's a nonviolent offense, sentence them to home confinement. And if they violate the terms, then they go to jail, right? I think jail should only be for violent offenders like, murderers, terrorists, all them sort of things. You know what I'm saying? Now, we will end for-profit detention centers and ensure that any facility where migrants are being detained is held to the highest standards of care and guarantees their safety and dignity. But what black folks are held at, you can have the lowest standards of care and no guarantee of your safety and dignity. This is the Democrats, folks. This is the Democrats talking. This is not the Republicans. And so we will ensure all detention centers provide access to competent interpreters who speak the migrants' native languages or in dialects. Detention of children should be restricted to the shortest possible time, so with their access to education and proper care ensured. And so we will prioritize alternatives to detention for individuals with special vulnerabilities. Those who are known to be suffering from serious physical or mental illness, and who have disabilities, who are elderly, pregnant, or nursing, who demonstrate they are primary caretakers of children, or an infirm person, identify as LGBT, and are those in detention, otherwise not in the public interest. So the little young brother who clearly has mental health issues, the one that beat the teacher, they want to put him in jail or threaten in 30 years. But these people who have an issue and could possibly do something, they don't want them in jail. Okay. Democrats will implement robust mechanisms for oversight, accountability, and transparency to ensure immigration agencies abide by our values. There we go again, Brandon Johnson. The U.S. Constitution and international law. Democrats believe immigration judges should be able to operate free of inappropriate political influence and will support steps to make immigration courts more independent. We would demand that leaders of our immigration agencies be Senate-confirmed professionals, and the immigration and customs enforcement and customs and border protection abide by our values. Boy, I love that word. And professional, evidence-based standards, and are held accountable for any inappropriate, unlawful, or inhumane treatment. And say a 21st century immigration system that honors our values. There we go again. An essential prerequisite, not just to recovering from the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression, but to strengthening our democracy and guaranteeing America's long-term economic competitiveness. That's why Democrats believe in improving and increasing opportunities for legal permanent immigration. And say our family, humanitarian, and diversity pathways have contributed immensely to the vibrancy and productivity of American society and should continue to be the centerpiece, of our immigration system. I just want to go through this, y'all, before I kind of add on. So we also support awarding visas for permanent employment-based immigration in a way that is responsive to the labor market needs. We want to attract and keep talented people in this country, which is why Democrats will end the Trump administration's freeze on green cards for new immigrants and instead pursue a meaningful reform agenda. So Democrats support policies and programs to make it easier for qualified immigrants and their families, the whole family, whole clan, to become full and equal citizens, including increased funding for culturally appropriate immigrant inclusion and citizen services, legal support, English class and bilingual education, workforce development, and education. Finally, Democrats will address the root cause of migration, violence, insecurity, poverty, pervasive corruption, lack of educational and economic opportunity, and the impacts of climate change. Discipline American leadership in well-designed assistance programs. We'll continue to prevent and mitigate the effects of migration crisis around the world from Southeast Asia to Sub-Saharan Africa to Central America. We will support a comprehensive strategy to strengthen security and prosperity in partnership with the people of Central America and the Caribbean with the support of the international community. And we will renew American diplomacy as our tool of force resort, rebuild our partnerships and alliances, and once again, lead the global humanitarian response. So I took my time to go through all that to say this. If you're an immigrant, it's great right now for you with Biden. He's trying to give you the world. Now, this is why Brandon Johnson, Biden, and all of them are upset when you speak against this. Understand, brothers and sisters, you and me are a priority for the Democrat Party. And when they try to gaslight you and you bring this to their attention, well, what the Republicans going to do? The Republicans is in our face trying to shame us to vote for them, are they? No, you are. The fact is, you do nothing for black people. You do symbolism, but give black people no substance. You were mentioning protection all through that piece. This is why we don't have an anti-black hate crime bill. This is why. Because they don't want to give it to you. And they did talk about reparations in there. I'm talking about on another section, but it's the same old HR 40 commission thing. No promises of cash payments. No, none of that. But they are very detailed in what they want to do for immigrants. So I'm bringing all this to your attention, brothers and sisters, to say this. The Democrats have a strong policy of benign neglect. And once again, as I said earlier, that's okay. That's fine, Democrats. You want to prioritize the immigrants and you want all that, do that. And I hope the election works out for you. Matter of fact, go tell them to vote for you. Go run ads in their different languages to vote for you. Last time I checked, the Muslims say they ain't voting for you at all, Biden. But that's okay. That's okay. Go talk to them. Maybe you can get back in the good graces of the Muslim community and see if they'll vote for you because they're angry with Biden. So when we talk about what you're going to do for us, that is the right mantra because they have no plans to do nothing for black people on their website. None. So I don't have no plans to go vote for them. That's all. You got to do something for me. That's just that simple. This is a quid pro quo relationship. The boat's for sale. Whoever gonna do something for black people, I'm for it. But this administration, Biden Harris, the Democrats, listen, that didn't come from Joe Biden's reelection campaign page. That came from the Democrats. That's the party page. I read that from, right? This is their policy. This is their values. Brandon Johnson. This is their values. to do nothing for you. So in Chicago, when Brandon Johnson is giving the migrants money to stay in a home, when he's doing all these things for them secret job fairs, he's right. That is their values, to support them and make sure they're good and their families are good, and you are screwed. That's their values. So now we know how to proceed. Now we know that we need to stand against what they're trying to do. We need to be filing lawsuits like the brothers and sisters did in Chicago to protect their park, right? They're the Mudson Park Fieldhouse. They had the other brothers and sisters in South Shore filed a lawsuit. Black folks are going to start utilizing the court since the Democrats have proven themselves as traitors and have an anti-black agenda. It's just that simple. They don't have a black agenda. No matter what Boulay Martin tells you, they have no black agenda because it's in black and white. Go read it from their website. Don't just take my word for it. Go read it. See, the worst thing they don't want you to do is read. They used to say, if you want to hide something from a black person, put it in a book or website. Go read it. Go read it. You will be angry. You'll be making your own content on what they're planning. And we're not involved. None of it. See, the Democrats didn't expect us to go look at their policies. But we got their number. We know what's up. So now you know. The policy of benign neglect is a Democrat policy. It's not a Biden policy. It's a Democrat Party policy. And he only following the agenda of the party. He's only following their values. And that's okay. We're going to follow our values. And our values say this: we're not a priority. You don't get our vote. Just that simple.